good part of the day, dear students. Today we have lecture number 12 on lexicography, and the topic of today's lecture is corpus lexicography and its development. My name is Radjabova Giyosiddinovna. I'm a senior lecturer of the Department of Methodology of Teaching English. Let's start. So in today's lecture, we are going to speak and to cover such topics as why do lexicographers use corpora? Why did they need to use this corpora? Second one, corpora or native speaker intuition. What is the difference between these two items? And how big does a corpus for lexicography need to be? As whether it should be big in size, whether it is smaller or average, and what should be included in corpus data and corpus analysis tools for lexicography. Let's start. And first of all, let's cover the issue. What is corpus? How do you think? So corpus is a balanced, often satisfied collection of authentic data, yes, real world data, data which is taken from real world, from native speaker, videos, podcasts, speeches, articles, etc. Yes, and it represents linguistic variety. So it means representative. Each corpus is representative and dynamic. And today, corpora, in plural corpus, will be corpora, and corpora are generally machine-readable data collection. It means that corpus is electronic storage, yes, storage of electronic texts, which can be used only electronically. And corpus linguistics as a science is a relatively new approach in linguistics that has to do with empirical study of real life. Yes, of language, real-life language use with the help of computers and electronic corpora. So there are some key concepts of corpora. First of all, it should be machine-readable. Texts are always authentic. Texts are given as a sample texts, yes, and representative of a particular language variety. For example, if we take as an example corpora of contemporary American English, COCA, yes, it gives the opportunity of 8 genres, starting from academic to colloquial, fictions, even transcript of different podcasts are included in this corpora. So it means representativeness of corpora is very important for lexicographers. And you know that corpus initially was created for lexicographers for the purpose of compiling dictionaries. As you know, in the past, corpora, it was just physical corpora, like collection of biblical texts or whatever, Bibles. And these texts, this data was used by lexicographers to compile their dictionaries. So as you see here, brown corpus, first, if we look at the development of corpora and corpus compiling process, yes, first corpus, it was brown corpus. It was very big project with a lot of investments, and corpus compilers, yes, initially had to scan texts to include them into electronic database. So, and why do lexicographers use corpora? What is the reason? And in this case, there is a collaboration between linguists and dictionary publishing houses, yes, has made possible the creation of huge state-of-the-art corpora and highly sophisticated tools of analysis, yes, which have transferred lexicography and had a huge influence in the linguistic as a whole. So what does it mean? Here, as I told you before, the purpose of creation corpora or corpus was to help lexicographers to get easy access to a lot of data, massive amount of data, because it was very difficult for lexicographers to compile dictionaries and to search different sources to, for example, to find the meaning of different words. For example, as you know, most of words polysemantic, and the case of polysemy, the case of homonymy, in order to prove it, lexicographers had to search a lot. But the creation of corpora made it easy for them to search tagged words, yes, and to find the samples of texts where this word is given and it is always highlighted. And any lexicographer working with the English language today must owe a huge debt to that evangelist of corpus lexicography. It means that those who created the corpora, they made great influence on the development of not only lexicography as a science, as a subject, as a discipline, but all other spheres of science, such as linguistics, such as language teaching, pedagogy, and methodology. So let's have a look at the first corpus-based dictionary. So as you know, all dictionaries before, they were not machine readable, they were printed dictionaries, but with the advent of invention of corpora and corpus data, electronic data, first American Heritage Dictionary, could you imagine? In 1969, it was first published, yes, was the first to make the corpus information. So it means while compiling these dictionaries, this dictionary, lexicographers used the information taken from corpora, brown corpus. And it was breaking ground among lexicographers and dictionary compilers, yes, by using corpus for compiling a word frequencies and other information. For example, as you know, yes, in the semantic structure of a word, first is used the most frequent, the most commonly used word. How do lexicographers know about the frequency? In the past, lexicographers had to search a lot different sources to prove their ideas and their data which they are going to use. But with the invention of corpus, there is no need to search a lot. The only thing is to use a tagged word in search engine in the tools which corpus allow to use, and it is possible to find the frequent words and frequent usage of words. As you see here, American Heritage Dictionary of the English language, it was still printed, not electronic, but data is taken from electronically stored texts. It means corpus. Second corpus-based dictionary, it is called Collins Birmingham University International Language Database. It was first compiled in 1987, could you imagine? And it was a team of Sinclair. He is a forefather of lexicography, let's say, electronic lexicography. Yes, and went far further in marrying the theory of large-scale corpus analysis with almost every aspect of practice of lexicography. So they managed it. It is very famous project, Cobalt project, yes, and they created, and this dictionary was more advanced and more collaborate. So as you see, Collins Cobalt English Language Dictionary. It is just cover page of this dictionary, and still it was not electronic. It was printed, but again, all the data is taken from corpora. So, and the question arises among lexicographers, among linguists, corpus linguists, what is better, more reliable, corpora or native speaker intuition? Before the invention of corpus, before the creation of corpus, yes, the most lexicographers use the system of citations, yes, or reading and marking. So it means they read a lot of texts, huge number of texts, and marked them and using the evidence of usage, just highlighting the evidence of usage of different words in different meaning in different context. Yes, and often they stored this information in index cards. And from this knowledge, yes, from this analysis, they compiled their dictionaries. But however, later, with the advent of computerized corpora, as Sinclair pointed out, especially in lexicography, there is a marked contrast between data collected by computer and that collected by human readers, exercising their judgment on what should or shouldn't be selected for inclusion in a dictionary. So it means that in the past, lexicographers themselves decided which data, which information to include, which contextual meaning of words to include in the semantic structure of these words, in the dictionary entries. But with the development of corpus, all the data is given in an exact and evident way, let's say. Yes, that's why there is no subjective attitude towards the dictionary compiling process. The attitude, objective, sorry. The attitude should be subjective, yes, and unbiased. And there are some advantages of corpora usage of corpora in lexicography. So, corpus lexicography does not allow personal prejudice. Yes, it means that attitude towards compiling dictionaries shouldn't be subjective. It should be objective. Yes, and it doesn't allow the lexicography simply to ignore tricky usages. For example, in the past, the usage was tricky, not understandable. So, and lexicographers in most cases ignore the usage, the examples, this evidence, and used only those meanings of words, yes, in dictionary entries, which they consider to be useful and to be included in the dictionary entry. It is much more difficult with the invention of corpora, with the introduction of corpora in lexicography, as to ignore a meaning that is in front of you is in black and white than one which comes into your head, for example, yes, but which you can easily persuade yourself is actually an aberration. So using corpora forces the lexicography to become much more objective, as I told you before. So being subjective was in the past, yes, because here corpus changed the lexicographer's attitude towards the process of compiling dictionaries, and they used the factual information which is provided in the corpora. And next question is, how big does corpora for lexicography need to be? Whether it should be small in size, whether it should be big. So as you know, most dictionaries, yes, they are limited in size because of limitation of printed versions. Yes, as you know, one of the disadvantages of this one, of printed dictionaries. Last lecture we discussed this one. And when it comes to the corpus size, the general consensus seems to be that big is beautiful. Yes, and the increasing availability of text in electronic form has made the collection of huge amounts of data much more viable. So, could you imagine that corpus of contemporary American English, as it contains 1,200,000,000 words. And this corpus is dynamic. It means that it updates every other year. So it means more and more texts are included in this corpus, more and more usage. And the learner, the lexicographer, can observe the development of words in chronological array, for example, chronologically, and at the same time, the usage of these words in terms of different genre. For example, if we take the word, the expression fake news, if you search dictionaries, we had the word fake, we had the word news, but the collocation is fake news. It is relatively new. And when you open this corpus of contemporary American English, and search this phrase in the corpora, so you can get that the most popular, this phrase, this most frequently used, this phrase became after 2015. Before that, it was rarely used. The same happened, for example, with the gender specificity. The most frequent it is in publicistic, in newspaper texts, for example. So as you see, for example, corpus, as I told, corpus of contemporary American English, yes, it is very big, balanced, representative corpus for use. And this one, the most important here is it is general. It is not specific, it is not specialized, but general, and that's why it can be used for different purposes. Not only for by lexicographers, but also by teachers, by learners, by researchers, etc. Let's have a look at this example. Yes, Cambridge International Corpus, the frequency of data. Yes, word. For example, effort includes plural efforts. Yes, frequency per 10 million words, 1,484 in this Cambridge International Corpus. Effortless, 13 times. Efficient, 184. Effusive, 6 times, and effusion, 3 times. So as you see, the most frequent usage of the word effort in comparison to others. And this table shows that even in corpus of 1 million words, this corpus contains only 1 million words, yes, and effort is likely to occur 148 times. However, effortless, a word which would strike most native speakers as not at all obscure, would occur only once or twice. So, if this sample is representative, even in a 20 million word corpus, it may only occur around 26 times, yes, which is probably not enough to give a reliable information on features such as its typical collocation pattern. So, next question is, what should be included in corpus? Yes, with the internet development, yes, it is possible now to gather almost unlimited amounts of text, number of texts, yes, but without some sort of monitoring and selection of content, there is a danger that a very distorted picture of the language could emerge. So it means, like corpus compilers, yes, those who work on these projects in creation corpora, they should be very attentive and avoid using unreliable texts. They think which I really like myself in terms of corpus of contemporary American English, or British National Corpus, or American National Corpus. These corpora are reliable because there are huge projects and a lot of investments are done on these projects to collect texts which are really reliable, which have copyright protections, yes, and that's why it is usual, therefore, when building a corpus, to aim at some notion of a representative sample of the language. Debate rages as to what is meant by representative, yes, and indeed whether such a notion has any academic or practical validity at all. It means representativeness of corpus, it is that corpus should be balanced, and the distribution among genres, texts from different genera, it should be equally tagged, equally chosen, yes. If we look at the corpus of contemporary English, for example, yes, it is well-balanced corpus because all texts and the number of words referring to different genre is equally balanced, more or less equally balanced, and there is no big discrepancy between them. And the next question, what should be included in corpora, written or spoken data? So actually it depends. For example, some corpus can be corpus of spoken language, yes. If it is specific, definitely they should be data from tape scripts, yes, transcripts of spoken language, such as videos, video programs, different movies, different podcasts, etc. And this speech, spoken speech, should be carefully transcribed and included into the corpora with original source, such a video, movie, or podcast, or whatever. Different videos, different audios should be included in this corpus. Written data most usually comprises texts that are available electronically, such as newspapers, novels, though other text may be scanned or rekeyed, yes, if particular required genres are not available, for example, yes. And spoken data, yes, consists of, as I told, transcripts of speeches ranging from general conversation to TV shows. And, for example, the third edition of Langevin Dictionary of Contemporary English was the first to highlight the use of spoken corpora. Yes, spoken corpora was firstly used in this dictionary. Yes, and giving small graphs comparing the frequencies of some words and phrases in written and spoken data. One more question, what should be included into the corpora is regional language variety, or should it be included or not? Yes, for English, the corpus builder must decide which varieties, for example, British, American, Australian, Indian, should be included, and what proportion, how much should be the share of such varieties in the corpora. Again, if it is something specific and it was created for learning purposes, for example, for small number of people, so it should be specialized definitely. But regarding general corpora, many other languages would have similar considerations, where they are spoken in various countries or regions of the world. So it means that again, the distribution among regional dialects, yes, should be equally considered, yes, should be considered and distributed equally. So one more question is whether modern, yes, present day data should be included, or diachronic, it means some words, some historisms or obsolete words should also be included. Synchronic data of contemporary or recent material used for general contemporary dictionaries. As I told, again, it depends on the purpose why the corpus or dictionary is compiled. Yes, diachronic data covers historical data, for example, yes, and may include words and usages that are now considered like archaic or have fallen out of use altogether. And there is a third form of corpus used by some publishers and researchers, which is known as a monitor corpus. Yes, a monitor corpus aims to track language change by constantly adding new materials and comparing it to a stable reference corpus. So it means new usage of words is compared to old, and researchers can have easy access to this chronological development and evolution of language. So next one, what should be included in corpora? Tools. Yes, let's speak about the tools. How do we use, how corpus is used by lexicographers? First of all, lemmatization. What does it mean, lemmatization? Lemma, yes, it means matching any form of a word with all its inflections to a base form. For example, effort, efforts, effortless, they are all lemma of one word, effort. For example, work, works, working, worked, also lemma of one lexeme, like work. Yes, and usually the form that would be found as a dictionary head word. Yes, basic form as a reference form is called, and all other forms or lemmas of this word should also be included in the search engine. And corpus search on find can return data for the forms find, finds, finding, and found, for example. Yes, these are all lemmas of one word find. For instance, when looking at the verb flood, yes, we know that the form flooded is by far the most common. And figures from the Cambridge International Corpus show the following frequencies per 10 million. First, flood, 26, flooded, 70, flooding, 26, and floods, 7. You see, the most frequent usage is flooded. That's why while searching and corpora were created in such a way that lemmatization while in searching process is possible. Next one is part of speech tag. There is a form has more than one part of speech. For example, hand, it can be verb, or hand as a noun. Yes, and lexicographers will usually want to select one of them. Yes, one dictionary entry as a noun, hand as a noun, for example. The lemmatization must work for different parts of speech too. For instance, the lexicographer will want houses, the plural noun, separately from houses, the present tense, third person singular. So it means, again, there should be clear subdivision of different lemmas. In conclusion, I would like to tell that corpora have revolutionized lexicography by providing authentic, real-life, evidence-based insights into language use. They enhance dictionary accuracy and ensure relevance. Yes, dictionary compiling process has become objective rather than subjective, yes, and support evolving linguistic needs. Embracing corpora like COCA, for example, Corpus of Contemporary American English, empowers us to create better resources for learners and researchers alike. Thank you for your attention.